In this tutorial, I'll show you how you can achieve the communication between two overlapping subnets behind two Fortigate firewall, which are connected via a VPN IPsec tunnel. And you might have seen the scenarios where you have a duplicate or overlapping IP, whereas you can use a bidirectional NAT object to overcome this situation. But in this scenario, I'm going to show you how you can achieve communication for two overlapping subnets, not a single IP. I'll share the link for the network topology so that you can understand the IP schema on two different firewalls. So on Fortigate Firewall 1, I have the WAN port, which is port 3, configured with an IP address 14.140.40.108, which is used for VPN, and port 2, which is our LAN interface connecting the internal subnet, and Fortigate 2 WAN port, port 3 14.140.40.146, and port 2, which is our LAN port 10.10.10.146, connecting the overlapping subnet, which is 10.10.10.0/24 on both the ends. So port 2 connects the internal 10.10.10.0/24 on both the firewall, and port 3, which is our WAN port, is used for the VPN configuration. First, let's try to configure the VPN gateway on both the firewall. On Fortigate Firewall 1, let's name it as FG1-FG2. Click on Custom, click on Next, and enter the remote IP as 14.140.40.146 as per the IP schema that I have. You can refer the link in the description to avoid any confusion. So it is going to be 14.140.40.146. Interface is going to be our WAN port, which is port 3, and rest of the thing: NAT traverser enable, DPD on demand, main mode, and let's try to configure the appreciate key. I'm just filling in as password, and then comes the proposal for phase 1, which is going to be des and SHA-1, and I have the Defi-Hellman group as 5 and 14, 86400 as lifetime for phase 1. Now comes the phase 2 configuration. So here in this scenario, I'm going to mask 10.10.10.0/24 on Fortigate Firewall 1 with 1110/24, and on Fortigate Firewall 2 I will mask the 10.10.10.0/24 with 2220/24. So the new subnet for Fortigate Firewall 1 inside network would be 1110/24, and for Fortigate 2 it is going to be 2220/24, which is going to act as a proxy ID for this VPN because of the translation that we will be going. Now comes the proposal for phase 2. I'm choosing des SHA-1 and PFS enable with group 5 and 14. Let's try to save the configuration, and let's try to do the same thing on Fortigate Firewall 2. Let me delete the old entry so that I can create a fresh gateway, and I can name it as FG2-FG1. Click on Custom, click on Next, and then try to fill in the IP details 14.140.40.108 as per the diagram, which is the remote IP for the VPN, and select the interface as port 3, which is our WAN port, exit interface for VPN. And let's try to check the IP schema, and let's have NAT traversal enabled and DPD detection on demand. Let's try to put the appreciate key as password, same as what we have on Fortigate Firewall 1. it is going to be IC version 1 main mode, and let's try to check this with SHA-1 as proposal for phase 1, with TH group as 5 and 14, lifetime 86400, and here it is going to be local subnet as 2220/24 and remote as 1110/24. So this is going to be my proxy ID 2220/24 local, which is masking the internal 10.10.10/24 on Fortigate Firewall 2, and remote is going to be 1110/24, which is masking the subnet behind the Fortigate Firewall 1. Proposal desk SHA-1 for phase 2 and click save. That's it. So we have the VPN gateway configured, both phase 1 and phase 2. Now let's try to configure the static route on Fortigate Firewall 1 and Fortigate Firewall 2. So Fortigate Firewall 1, the remote subnet is going to be 2.2.2.0/24, pointing to the tunnel interface as per the diagram. And for the Fortigate Firewall 2 FG2, the remote subnet is going to be 1.1.1.0/24, pointing to the tunnel. So these two subnets are used for masking the overlapping subnet, which is 10.10.10/24. So 1.1.1.0 is the external pool for Fortigate Firewall 1, and 2.2.2.0 is the external pool for Fortigate Firewall 2. Let's try to configure the address object on Fortigate Firewall 1 and 2. So 1.1.1.0 I already have created, 2.2.0, and the last one is the overlapping subnet, which is 10.10.10/24. So I have the object created. Let's try to check on Fortigate Firewall 2. Okay, so I have them configured on Fortigate Firewall 2 as well, all the three subnets required in the policy. In the next step, we will configure the IP pool for the source NAT so that we can do the translation sequentially for the internal network from top to bottom, which is 10.10.10.1 until 10.10.10.254 automatically in a linear sequential fashion, so that it is simple and we don't have to do mapping for single IP again and again. So the external IP is 1.1.1.1 until 1.1.1.254, and I'm going to put the range for the internal IP as well, 10.10.10.1 until 10.10.10.254. So it is going to automatically map from top dot 1 until 254 with the external 1.1.1 until 1.1.1.254 automatically. Make sure you select the fixed port range in the NAT type, and let's try to do the same thing on firewall 2 as well. On firewall 2, the external subnet range will be 2.2.2.1 until 2.2.2.254, and the overlapping subnet will have the range from 10.10.10.1 until 10.10.10.254. I'm going to name it as FG2 new to original, and I'm going to set the type as fixed port range, and I'm going to put the external range and internal range so that I have the automatic mapping. For example, 2.2.2.1 will maps to 10.10.10.1, and sequentially the last mapping would be 2.2.2.1, 2.2.2.254 mapping with 10.10.10.254. Alright, so I have the object. The two objects that we have created just now are for the source NAT. So we are going to create the VIP object for the destination NAT on firewall 1 and then on firewall 2 using the same technique, which will automatically map the external IP to the internal IP. Click on virtual IP and create the virtual IP object for the automatic mapping that will be used in destination NAT. So you can name it as per your requirement and select the static NAT in type, and if you want you can put the interface binding as well, or else you can keep it as any. So the external range will be 1.1.1.1 until 1.1.1.254 on firewall 1. Put the external IP range as 1.1.1.1 until 254 and put the starting IP for the internal subnet, which is 10.10.10.1. You will not be able to enter the range here. It'll throw an error when you try to put the range, so just put the starting IP there. Let's try to configure the web object on firewall 2. You can also select the interface here instead of any to the tunnel interface, and the external IP range on firewall 2 would be 2221 until 222.254, and the internal range would be 10.10.10.1, which is the starting IP. Now we have the web object as well as the IP pool object created for the source NAT and destination NAT. And let's try to create the policy to allow the VPN traffic and to do the source NAT and the destination NAT on both the firewalls. We will try to create the outbound policy first on firewall 1, and the interface is going to be port 2, which connects the internal subnet, which is 10.10.10.0. Outgoing would be the tunnel interface. Source is going to be our actual subnet, which is 10.10.10.0/24, and the destination is going to be the masking subnet, which is 2220/24 on the remote end, as you can see on the diagram. Service, I'm going to set it to all just for time being for testing, and then click on NAT enable and then try to use the same IP pool object that we have created in the last step. As you can see, this is the automatic mapping that I'm supposed to choose, and this will do the automatic mapping of the internal IP to the external IP, which is 1.1.1.0 subnet. And click OK. Now we'll try to create the inbound policy. So in the inbound policy, the incoming interface would be the tunnel interface, and the outgoing interface would be port 2 as per the diagram, and the source is going to be 2.2.2.0 because the other end will source NAT the traffic and then will send to the firewall 1. And the destination, we are supposed to choose the VIP object for the destination translation in sequential manner. So we'll select that VIP object here, and we do not need the source NAT, so we'll disable that and we will save it, and we will do the same thing on the firewall 2 as well. Once the VPN policy is configured, that will do both the source translation as the destination translation. The subnet behind Fortigate Firewall 1, which is 10.10.10.0/24, will be mapped to 1110/24, and on Firewall 2, 10.10.10.0/24 will be mapped to 2.2.2.0/24. For example, 1.1.1.1 will be mapped to 10.10.10.1, which is behind firewall 1, and on firewall 2, 2.2.2.1 will be mapped to 10.10.10.1, which is behind firewall 2. So the subnet behind firewall 1 can reach out to the external representation, which is 2220/24 for the respective IP behind the firewall 2, and vice versa from the subnet behind firewall 2. Let's try to force the VPN tunnel to bring up the faces and test the configuration. We have a window machine PC1 behind firewall 1 and a Linux machine which is PC2 behind firewall 2, and I'm checking the VPN status on both the firewall before we can test the configuration. PC1 is configured with an IP address 10.10.10.140, which is externally represented by an IP 111.140, and the default gateway is pointing to the port 2 IP on firewall 1. Similarly, on PC2, IP address is 10.10.10.130, and the gateway is the port 2 IP on firewall 2. And I have a route for the remote subnet on both PC1 and PC2 pointing to the respective firewall port 2 IP. PC1 can reach out to PC2 using an external IP which is 222.130, which translates to 10.10.10.130, which is the actual IP on PC2. So let's try to initiate some ping from PC1, ping 2.2.2.130, and let's try to see the session information on the firewall to confirm that the configuration is working fine. As you can see, I am able to ping PC2 using an external IP 2.2.130 from PC1, and this is the sniffer packet capture on port 2, and you can see that the traffic is going through the firewall. You can see the actual source 10.10.10.140 going towards 2.2.2.130, and on firewall 2 you can see the translation to 10.10.10.130. I'll just put the TCP term capture to confirm that the ping is reaching the PC2 from PC1. So you can see here the traffic is reaching PC2 and the source is 10.10.10.140, which gets translated to 1.1.1.140, and the actual 2.2.2.130 translates to 10.10.10.130. Let's try to check the session information on FortiGate Firewall 1, and let's try to see the source and the destination and how it translates. So you can see 10.10.10.140 going towards 2.2.2.130, source net 1.1.1.140, and the reply packet coming to 1.1.1.140. Similarly on firewall 2, let's try to check the IP address and the translation information. So you can see here the traffic that is reaching the firewall 2 is having the source 1.1.1.140 and destination 2.2.2.130, which gets translated to 10.10.10.130. This confirms that everything is working fine as per the policy configuration on firewall 1 and firewall 2. Let's try to ping another IP, which is port 2 IP 10.10.10.146, that corresponds to 222.146, and let's try to check the information that we have in this session on firewall 1 and firewall 2. Let's try to check the session information for 2.2.2.146. So you can see the source 10.10.10.140, destination 2.2.2.146, source getting translated to 10.1.1.1.140. And let's try to check this information on the Fortigate Firewall 2. So you can see here that the destination 2.2.146 getting translated to the actual IP on port 2, which is 10.10.10.146. Now let's try to check the policy information, and let's try to see if the traffic is hitting the policy. As you can see on firewall 1, I can see the outbound policy preferred by the traffic initiated, and on the firewall 2 you can see the inbound policy data. So that confirms that everything is working fine. So that's all in this video. Please do not forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button. See you in the next video. Bye.